The film series that won't die. Nearly 30 movies, one house, actually several houses, and cursed artifacts.
The Amityville Horror Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Amityville Podcast.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Pat.
This week we've got the Amityville Asylum. Get ready for a lot of very nondescript mid-Atlantic American accents, because this was made in England, and yet it's still set in Amityville, Long Island. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. It'll be great.
Yeah, I mean, a Long Island accent can't be that hard for the British. Our accent came from somewhere, right?
I mean, in the movies, so far's defense, none of the people have been trying to do a Long Island accent even once.
Nope. Honestly, the only distinguished accent was probably just Burt Young.
Yeah,
and that's just what he sounds like.
That's just what he sounds like.
Yeah. The Get Out voice had a little hint of the transatlantic radio accent. Get out.
Yes. But like there's no like John Ratzenberger trying to like put on the phony baloney accent.
Yeah, which is some sort of Boston
movies.
By way of Chicago by way of...
Yeah. That's exactly what it is then, Norm.
Yeah.
But you know what?
This is the spitting
John
image
was trying.
of a regional dialect.
Yeah. We will never complain about... He's the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
No, he was Ham. He's Ham the pig. The T-Rex is Wallace Shawn.
God, yeah, you're right. My bad.
It's all good.
God bless John Ratzenberger. But let's talk about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, well, we can't yet because we haven't watched it yet. But how often, this is not uncommon when a movie the word series is in heavy italics and quotation marks when I say this. It's not uncommon when a series of movies goes on for so long that, production values, we're not going to say dip, but, we're going to be more cost effective and move production to a different, country. But, England is not the one you would think of for good tax havens. It's usually Canada, or nowadays it's Eastern Europe.
Yeah, Uwe Boll found that loophole and exploited the hell out of it.
And the world.
Yeah, and if you're ever wondering how he made all of those movies, there's plenty of information on it. He's happy to talk about it on other podcasts.
He really is.
He's never made an Amityville movie, we don't get to talk to him about it.
I almost would like to watch that.
I'd be curious.
I think I've seen at least one, maybe two Uwe Boll movies.
Oh God, there's many.
There's a lot.
I'm probably at about a dozen, but he cranked them out for so long. He's now, I believe, retired.
Yeah, he understood that there was no tomorrow. It was like a total Anthony Burgess situation where it's just like, I have a death sentence, so I have to make hay while the sun shines.
Yep.
But I like your Hellraisers number 7 definitely went Eastern Europe. I forget. Hellworld is set in America.
I think Hellworld. I think 5 might have been shot in America too.
I think so. Well, yeah, Inferno is definitely shot in America, or at the very least Canada. Yeah. But oh god damn it, Inferno is so goddamn good.
Yeah. And 3. The first 3 you said take place in New York.
The first 3, actually, and 4, because the space parts of 4 take place in the same spot as Hellraiser 3. Those 4
gotcha.
Take place, the first,
the Adam Scott old timey stuff.
Yes,
is there too.
Well, that's supposed to be in France.
That's okay. So we've got shot in New York.
Or wherever they were shooting.
Because
it's all... The France parts are basically all interiors. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. But, the first 2 Hellraisers are supposed to be... Actually, the first 4 are supposed to take place in New York. The first 2, however, are very clearly filmed in England.
Yeah.
No, the first one, obviously, every exterior shot is just London. It just is. There's a part where Kirsty is walking down the Thames, and it's just come on. And then in the second one, if if you want your big clue, Kyle, the doctor, the protege to Dr. Chenard, is played by William Hope, who, despite being Canadian, has a fairly healthy gig as a professional American in England. He was Lieutenant Gorman in Aliens, which was filmed in England. He's the American ambassador Standish in Sherlock Holmes, the first Sherlock Holmes movie. And a whole bunch of other things. And most recently I found out that he's actually the teenage daughter's nigh unseen boyfriend in Poltergeist. Like, he's the guy peeling out at the end of Poltergeist. When,
I always thought that was played I always thought that was John Hughes, who later picked up that role in The Breakfast Club.
Playing Brian's dad. But no, according to the IMDb, that's William Hope. Which I haven't gone back and double checked.
Right.
But there's certain actors like that, in Freddy vs. Jason production moves to Canada, as evidenced by the Monica Keena's dad, but more importantly, Gary Chalk as the sheriff, Optimus Primal. If that guy is in your movie, it is being filmed in Canada.
Yeah. Well, I still think, because 8 was famously Jason takes Manhattan for 2 minutes, but it's mostly Montreal or Toronto. I think Toronto.
Yeah.
I think Toronto because it was a closer hop.
God, right. Yeah, because they literally just have... It's just the Times Square stuff.
It's the Times Square bits.
And maybe the subway.
I think the subway was even a set.
Really?
Yeah.
That sucks.
So I have to say the most Canadian Friday the 13th is Jason X.
Yeah.
Because you have half the cast of Andromeda in there.
Yes, you do. Playing opposite, pointedly the opposite versions of their Andromeda characters.
Yeah, and I don't even think they were aware of that when they were putting them in the roles. It's just afterwards
Oh,
no shit. Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
And
Dave DePrave. It gets even crazier, though.
go ahead.
So David Cronenberg is our, beginning, our he's got too much value to science and the military guy, which just makes it even funnier.
The most Cronenberg-y character. It's we need the biotech.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the guy, the professor, tries to sell Jason to some sort of shady guy that you see in a bed. That's Robert Silverman, who was a frequent David Cronenberg collaborator. He's in The Brood, Naked Lunch, Existence, and Scanners.
Yeah.
That is what's crazy is that I think that's the last time they've worked together in a movie in some form, and Cronenberg wasn't even directing it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
Nice.
Because, Cronenberg, somebody put it in one of these Cronenberg books I was reading, Cronenberg appears in movies when his friends ask him to be in a movie. He has no real urge to be an actor, but if somebody he's worked with before says, "Hey, you want to be in this little part in a movie?" He's like, "Sure."
Yeah. If you think I'm right for the role, okay.
And that's why Nightbreed. That is just one of the many reasons Nightbreed is one of the greatest things ever.
So good.
But to Clive's credit, the book is set in Canada. It came by it naturally, and so filmed in Canada.
Yeah. So hopping to Canada is a little more, common.
It's so much easier to pretend it's America.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'd have to check the filming locations for the Tremors series because I know they hopped all over the world in the continuity, but they shot in the U.S. originally, then they shot in Mexico.
Yeah, and set it, the second one is set in Mexico.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one that I believe is set in Africa. There's one that was set in Alaska, but it was probably shot in northern Canada, but maybe Greenland.
I want the Africa one to be named exactly like Shaft in Africa, just Tremors in Africa. I was that's the title.
I actually don't remember what the subtitle of it was.
What are the other ones? Saws all take place in whatever nondescript town.
Yeah.
That is... It's just hell. Saw takes place in hell.
Yeah. And then you had mentioned the last one, which I think is the champ, would be how often the Howling films hop.
Oh, dude. So, first one takes place in California. Second one, we jump to Transylvania. I'm not sure if they actually filmed there. It's not unheard of. All of the subspecies films are filmed in Transylvania, which
perfect castles.
It was so good. Like it's like the money you have to spend in flying everybody there, you'll make up for in just point the camera anywhere. And it looks amazing because you're in Transylvania or Budapest.
And hopping ahead, I'm pretty sure the fifth Howling was shot in Romania.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's the Agatha Christie,
the
everybody in
one.
a castle one. But then in number 3, it goes to Australia and is at it's set in Australia and filmed in Australia
and for
reasons. Marsupials, baby.
Yep, marsupials only exist on the Australian continent, and this is about little pouch werewolves.
Yep, little pouch werewolves. It's adorable. And also that Imogen and Annesley, the girl in Howling 3 is pretty damn cute. But and then 4 goes back to America, 5 goes to nondescript Eastern European country, 6 comes back to America for no good reason.
Yeah, and then 7 is a small town outside of California, or at least outside of LA.
Right. Yeah.
Which is predominantly line dancing with occasional werewolf mentions.
Yes.
That one you can avoid like the plague.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You can skip that one. But yeah, there's not a lot of it's weird for the movie, the setting to jump to a different country apropos of nothing. Like your blades go all over the place, but at the end of the first Blade movie, he's like, I'm in Russia, and so I am an international, vampire murderer.
But you don't have, Jason Voorhees showing up in Moscow for no reason.
Horror movies are usually very tied to the location. Because
urban legends and local history.
The monster has to be... no matter how modular the monster itself is, it's usually tied to the legend, like you said.
Yeah.
Actually, Candyman 2 does a surprisingly good job of completely changing the location.
Yeah, ships it to New Orleans, right?
It ships it to New Orleans, but it works, which is weird.
What's really weird is that, here our 10th or 11th episode, 11th, I believe, we have already, in a series based on a house, a building, a physical structure, moved to other cities more than a few times.
On different coasts. Because apparently the Amityville thing it infects antiques and furniture and accoutrement around the house. Because that's how ghosts work.
Sure.
Ghosts can't go through walls. They're not fire.
All right, well, let's go ahead.
On that community joke.
Yep. Let's go ahead and check out this asylum.
Let's do Amityville Asylum. England for America. Well, it's hard to sum up how much that movie affected me. Because it didn't affect me at all. God, that was terrible. That was just boring. That was 90 minutes of boring. Why would you do this?
Alright, so before we get to the plot in general...
this was on Tubi, by the way.
Yep. I would like to discuss...
Don't watch it.
some general questions to address any spoilers you might have based on the premise. Now, was the person who was hired at the mental institution in fact a patient the whole time?
No.
Oh,
you thought that? Oh, that's funny.
What I thought I got from that one speech towards the end was that she had thought she applied for the job, but was actually just being committed.
No. There's too much of, she keeps talking to the friend outside. She's got her own place. I know he said he was...
She was an outpatient at first.
Yeah, but... I mean...
It's a twist they tried to pull.
I don't even think they tried to pull that. I think the doctor is just trying to like get her under control, under wraps.
Oh,
so
gaslighting her and telling her that she was committed the whole time.
Yeah, so like that way he gets like he like lays the groundwork for anything he has to say to the police later.
Fair.
No, not even for a second is she a patient at this place.
All right.
Why would they give?
She was never given keys, but all of the other staff. Yeah, all of the other staff let her do things around the hospital. They went to check on things.
One of the doctors pointedly says she's not a patient. Remember when she's looking through patient X's medical records, that one doctor shows up, accuses her committing a fireable offense.
Yeah.
But I'll keep my mouth shut if you go down on me. And then Scottish Ukrainian janitor busts in on them, and the scumbag doctor says that she's not a patient, so we're just having a conversation. So no, she's not a patient.
Okay, then them trying to pull that twist at the end muddled the waters. We're going to address why there are some questions about the plot in a bit. But another question. Okay, this is a building that has potentially supernatural things happening.
We haven't talked about the premise at all. So this movie is called Amityville Asylum. Our de facto main character, Lisa, is a 20-something-year-old who applies to become a overnight custodian at a mental hospital, the titular asylum, which we later find out was built on 112 Ocean Avenue, the site of the original Amityville house.
Which was also built on the site of a massacre of a Native American tribe.
The Sachem tribe.
They're
called the Sachem tribe. They practiced witchcraft. They will. This is one of the few things that they will repeat over and over and over again throughout this film. Halfway through.
It's a Native American tribe that performed witchcraft for their lord, the Dark Master.
The Dark Master.
And there is a modern witchcraft coven that is trying to resurrect the Dark Master in the Great Becoming, which is not a resurrection but a becoming. But
everybody
it
gets
had
to be immortal.
Over the years been disproven that the Sachem tribe did in fact believe in the Dark Master, that they did believe in, but like the movie loses its own logic on the backstory.
Oh my god. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it openly contradicts itself, like, sometimes sentence to sentence.
I mean, just like the term the Dark Master kind of sums the whole thing up. At every stage of this movie, you want to ask the people that made it, this was, and you're okay with this. This was the strongest choice. This was the best name you could come up with, the Dark Master. That's it. Like, this is the best character. This is the best casting. This was the best take that you had, where
this was the best
much shit in the foreground that you barely can tell what's going on.
Yeah. Oh god, the camera angles. I will say, I thought the lighting was generally strong, but
at the beginning, it's strong outside of the asylum.
Yeah,
you can't tell what's going on inside the asylum.
Hit and miss. There are some parts that are effective, but when it tries to be mysterious, 100%.
I just don't know what I'm looking
literally
at.
Like, you can't tell what's going on. Unwatchably dark or blurry, or there is a door covering half the frame.
Yep.
And that's sometimes restrained. Like, there was one shot where a door was blocking one half of the frame, while like the corner of a lamp was blocking the other another quarter of it on the other side.
We're going for that naturalistic look.
Mm-hmm. The naturalistic. You're watching a movie in your roommate's room.
Yeah. And you don't want your roommate to know that you're there watching it for some reason. Did you believe that this was taking place in Long Island?
No.
There's
Not
like
once.
There's like 2 attempted American accents throughout, or no, there's 4 attempted American accents. There's Lisa's
best friend,
the main guard, and then that one doctor. Doctor, you scratch my balls, I scratch your balls.
Right, like more of an orderly, I think, but still, the orderlies were American-esque.
Yeah.
We had the Scottish Ukrainian who mostly sounded like Chekhov, which is from Star Trek, which is interesting because at the beginning he is giving her a tour of the hospital, shows us all of the other patients that we're going to need to know.
None of this will pay off later.
Yeah, because most of them are incidental, like they might have a scene or two with each other, but you don't really need to know or care who any of them are.
All of them have British accents.
Yep. And then he shows us all of her job details for a good 30 minutes.
All describing all sorts of cleaning tools and or solutions that could be used as weapons later if, we're under attack or on the run.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll never come back again.
Yeah, we thought that the Chekhov accent was a Chekhov's gum remover, and it was not.
Yeah.
None of that comes up. So if he starts if you do watch this...
Don't watch this.
Then when you get to the scene where the head janitor is explaining cleaning supplies, you have time to go fix a snack, take a dump, write an email, finish the newspaper, find a newspaper stand, get tomorrow's. You're good.
Yep. And then this goes on for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
You've got 90 minutes to build up a mystery, build up suspense, and they just sort of just don't.
Yeah, we're told that there's going to be mystery because the murderous patients are kept in Ward X. That's total mystery material.
Yeah.
They're Category A prisoners.
Category A prisoners, which you would think they would be in Ward A.
Yeah.
But they are not.
Category A is kept in Ward X, including Patient X, whose name is John Doe.
Yep.
Are you following all this? Because none of it clearly mattered to the writers.
No, not even for a second. I took so little notes because it just became clear there was nothing to do. This movie had nothing. It starts off with the Ronnie DeFeo murders at the beginning of the film, which... Admittedly, this is not as bad as the thing I'm going to compare it to, but if you end up watching all of these week to week, it does become do we really need to know how Bruce Wayne became an orphan? Do we not know about the Ronnie DeFeo murders? But admittedly, these are not a series of movies, so you would have to explain it. But again, this does not come into play for another 40 minutes before they explain that the asylum is built on the Amityville house, which that got, as there was so little of the plot populating the film, it became an issue of how does this connect to anything?
How does it connect to itself, less yet the bigger Amityville thing?
Yeah.
Save for the occasional nod of scary old lady ghost saying "Get out."
Yeah, there was the Get Out.
And the name of the asylum is the High Hopes Asylum,
Yeah.
which is a sign that was outside of the Amityville house when DeFeo committed the original murder, and has popped up here and there as an occasional nod through some of these films.
Yeah, it just becomes one of those things. Clearly this was a script that was written to be something else that they retooled a little bit to make it an Amityville thing, but it's you still gotta actually make it an Amityville thing at some point. Every Hellraiser movie after number 4 is a completely retooled script that was meant to be something else, but they do a pretty good job of and here is how it connects to Hellraiser somehow. And by somehow, here's the box, here's Pinhead, don't worry about it.
Yeah, wrap it up, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I actually do want to correct myself. It was not the ghost woman that said "Get out." It was the witch in the cell who had psychic visions of the main girl's mother and struggle. And at the time, we killed a couple minutes realizing that instead of saying "Get out" in a demonic voice, it would have been Baba Booey would have been better.
Baba Booey would have been better.
Baba Booey would have been better. Baba Booey would have been better. Baba Booey would have
Baba Booey would have been better. We started making up tongue twisters. That's how interesting this movie is.
Yeah, and so we challenge you at home to try 5 times in a row to say Baba Booey would have been better.
Yep, Baba Booey would have been better.
Huh.
Mind you, this is not our fault, because if you watch it on Tubi, make sure you watch it with the subtitles. They will help up to a point, but about halfway through it, the mix of the sound will become so bad that the subtitles, honest to God, say, music too loud. Mm-hmm. As if somebody is transcribing the subtitles live instead of working off of... I have to stop myself. I almost said as if they weren't working off of the script. There is no script for this movie.
If there is, it wasn't shared with anybody who needed post-production notes.
No.
Or on-set notes. And it's a writer-director, so...
Yeah, Andrew Jones.
Yeah.
So Lisa sees mysterious things, and having been there for a full week, she is completely freaked out, but completely intrigued, and trying to track down a mystery, but kind of not. And then she gets locked up.
Mm-hmm. There is a lot leading to her getting locked up, but most of these conversations... Music too loud.
Too loud.
We're not kidding.
Yeah.
You're reading the subtitles because the music is too loud to hear what they're saying. The sound mix is terrible.
It's really bad.
And we're like straining, like, thank God we have subtitles on, and about a minute or two into the one sequence...
Music too loud.
It literally just stops the subtitles and says, music too loud. You can't hear a word they're saying. They're whispering as they're cranking this, like... extra stingy cat walking on an open grand piano's wires.
It's
score.
It's the poor man's John Carpenter's soundtrack. It's all just I have a synthesizer. I'm just gonna hit notes. Mm-hmm. And then subtitle it as eerie, tense music. And then eventually, music too loud.
Right. It's like somebody took a Swiffer to a harp at some points.
Oof. And so then murders.
Yeah. Well, the murders start in the middle when one of the inmates made a shiv to slit his wrist to get a guard into the room to help him so that he could stab him to death, but then another room. There's some prisoners killing each other.
He kills the orderly, and then he goes to the other patient's cell.
Right.
And then stabs him. Because we need 6 dead bodies by November 13th, 2013.
Well, no, we needed 6 on the 13th. And so those were other deaths because half a movie had passed.
Fair.
And so, somebody who, spoiler is Patient X John Doe, who is cloaked in mystery all the way up until we never know anything about him.
He's still cloaked in mystery.
Yeah. You never get to see his face. You never get his backstory. You never understand literally anything about him. It's built up to be a reveal.
Yep.
It's just not revealed at all.
They wanted to preserve that mystery really bad.
Yep. So he eventually is just a guy who's kind of going around killing the 6, except he kills 5, then gets his head smushed in a door by Lisa after she stabs him in the chin with a screwdriver.
Yeah, and this is after, it's weird, because, the evil Dr. Mixter has given him a shotgun to go forth and do the Dark Master's bidding. And then you get, like, the almost Amityville-esque thing of, like, a guy walking around with a shotgun just shooting people.
But then you just hear it going off in the background, mostly.
Yes. But then when he finally is going after Lisa, Lisa starts running, and the killer, who is never really revealed who the guy with the shotgun is.
Just Patient X John Doe.
Is it? I mean, okay.
It literally is.
I'll trust you. He reloads the shotgun, goes to kill Lisa, and then the barrel clicks as if it's empty, even though he has not fired in between reloading and finding Lisa.
Yeah, then she claims this loaded shotgun to hold against the doctor. The cops show up and just shoot her without the sound of a door kicking in or anything. Or she's there angry at the doctor
The door wasn't closed.
Fair.
Yeah, the cops show up because somebody called them. Don't worry, that's never explained who or when. That I'd say like the sounds of the shotgun going off would have attracted somebody or would have alerted, but we have no idea where like this place does not appear to be near anything. Like if it's on the Amityville property, they don't really have neighbors. Mm-hmm. And also you want to put a mental hospital right on the water so that when the patients escape, they can make like a getaway on the Amityville water.
Yeah, kind of like some of the families have done over the movies.
Yes. So...
Yeah, maybe the doctor called the cops so that they would shoot her as the final sacrifice?
Probably. But I don't want to give this movie any credit for anything. And the doctor is trying to get her to probably kill him because it's like, as long as 6 people die, we all become immortal. Like, even if we're dead. Yeah. Maybe.
And so that, like, the whole thing, the Dark Master, blah, 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 blah. They try to Black Mirror it, sort of. The movie closes with him giving an interview to a very British reporter as cars are seen on the wrong side of the street here in Long Island.
And the doctor is British as well. Mm-hmm. Like, don't get me wrong. Always willing to give, like, the head of a hospital a pass for being British, because sure, it happens.
That's a lot of British people in one neighborhood in Long Island.
British in Long Island.
He's giving an interview talking about how he's got his book out. He just sold the movie rights. He even devoted a chapter to a lot of the staff and the patients that we lost in the book with pictures, because once your picture gets in a book and gets in a movie and online and, blogs and whatnot, you become immortal. Oh, that's what he must have meant. And I'm sure that's exactly what the native tribes who believed in this Dark Master, who didn't believe in this Dark Master, who were not Judeo-Christian at all, so wouldn't have had satanic things like they implied on. So, yeah.
They did. That's the tradition. You don't want to. They never wanted to have their pictures taken because they were afraid of becoming immortal.
Aha. Classic. Anywho, that's the.
And then there's a song about drinking tea over the credits, because this is a totally American movie.
100%.
I hate this movie.
It was bad.
I hate
music was too loud. That is my chief complaint.
Amityville Asylum, music too loud. Mm-hmm. That is a chief complaint among many complaints. There's no there. We can't even make fun of this movie. Like,
it's really hard
nothing. There's just nothing.
Yeah. So I will actually segue to the fact that it's called Amityville Asylum, but for many of you horror buffs, especially of certain straight-to-streaming or video caliber, Asylum is a name in the motion picture industry.
Indeed.
And they are best known for the mockbuster, which is big movie comes out, they have the off-brand subversion. Yeah. So Transformers is coming out. You get Transmorphers.
Pacific Rim, Atlantic Rim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're the ones who always have, not to offend Mr. Pibb fans, but the Mr. Pibb Dear Dr. Pepper, as it was. Mr. Pibb was
your RC Cola.
Yeah, your Oreo to your Hydrox. Hydrox came first.
Hydrox did come first.
But
Oreo did it better.
This is okay. So in that way, very different.
Yeah.
So this movie, Amityville Asylum, was not produced by the Asylum Motion Picture Company. As it turns out, they have done one of these, and it was actually last week's entry. Yeah. The shot on a camcorder, because of course it's going to be the cheapest looking one we've seen so far.
Oddly enough, not featuring Shane Van Dyke.
Yeah, he is in a lot of theirs. But, Asylum Pictures have had a tendency to look Less than high budget.
Yes, but at the very least competent.
Right.
Like, you know, I'm shooting the thing on the media that I have, but I at least know how to tell a story. This guy did not know how to tell a story,
Not even remotely.
even if he had a story to tell, which they didn't.
And there was camp factor to last week's one.
Yeah, there was.
There was also, it was not just cashing in on there being a new Amityville film, but also the found footage craze.
Yep.
Jumping into like paranormal activity and all that. So it did speak to a lot of Asylum's usual like methodology.
Agreed.
Yeah. But
This is just poorly lit, dull. I don't know what they were trying to say with this movie, or what was the scary of this movie.
Ghosts are creepy, asylums are creepy.
Yeah.
As long as we got that, we good.
I don't even know that it was like, clearly they had access to this facility at night, and so they're shooting at night. They don't really make it look like a hospital at all. Like, this just looks like it could be, you know, a university building or some sort of office building.
Yeah.
And, you know, except for like the random bits in Ward X that look like you know, dungeons. There's nothing. And so there's no creepy.
So on a hunch, one thing I did think that they wanted to say with this, I looked it up, and Shutter Island came out not too terribly long before this probably would have shot. So
I would not give them that credit, that benefit of the doubt.
if you see Shutter Island and you want to turn around a quick version without any sort of craft to it, I feel like this might have been the result of that kind of thing.
I appreciate where you're going, but this was so beyond incompetent. I can't even give them that.
Loud music.
Music too loud. Music too loud.
Yeah.
Don't watch this movie.
This very
Watch the
low
one
resale.
from last week again, or better yet, watch any of the other ones that are on Tubi.
Yeah.
Like it's like the About Time one. Watch the About Time
That
one
one,
again. That was good. That was fun.
I feel like
the Dollhouse one was fun too. Remember Dollhouse?
God. I feel like we're starting to, get Stockholm on these.
Oh God, a little bit.
Yeah,
We're only 2
reminiscing
into these direct-to-video guys, or the all bets are off guys, because there's a lot of direct-to-video before. But
which was actually my last point about last week's, is that Asylum Films tends to, when they make their mockbusters, figure out exactly where they can carve in the legal not infringement section of making a mockbuster, and if they were able to put Amityville in the title and include the elements that they did, I have to assume their lawyers made sure that they could get away with it, which again pretty much opened up everybody else who wanted to make a movie based on XYZ that you could. So
especially if they can just, because the Ronnie DeFeo murders predate the Lutz's involvement, and those are actual murders. It's like, you don't even have to worry about infringing on the Lutz's story at all, because hey, this is all stuff from the DeFeo family. And
that is a
they
public
are all
event.
dead.
Yeah, that was in newspapers. That was local lore. There are plenty of places you can say you sourced that information and based on true events.
It's in incredibly poor taste.
Oh, absolutely. But it also, I think, speaks weirdly to the fact that if you include too much of the Lutz's story, they do own the copyright to that.
They do.
Which speaks against it being a factual thing.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but I can definitely see where that might be a concern.
I mean, Truman Capote's copyright on In Cold Blood, the fact that it's a true story does not lessen his copyright.
This is true because of his specific research on the topic. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, there's all sorts of reasons to doubt the Lutz's story, but, that bit, that's a little too cute.
As a wizard, my chief spell is casting aspersions.
Indeed. So. Well, the resale value for this was 0 and or negative. I regret having watched it, and I would recommend that nobody watch this movie.
Yeah,
It's not even funny.
Yeah, not one to put any sort of effort into, unless maybe if you're in need of sleep. Maybe if you're training to have a regional accent that nobody can quite place.
If you're some sort of bizarre completionist, as this project is for us.
Yeah, but at least we're going in without a heads up.
Yeah.
Wait, that's bad.
Yeah, no, this was music too loud. Music too loud. I have never seen that on any movie ever. Music too loud. The music was too loud for the subtitles to be able to tell what is being said. Mm-hmm. That is what that was.
The subtitles actually commented on the production value of the film.
Dear God in heaven. Well,
fuck.
Until next time. I don't know what the next one's going to be, but, fingers crossed that it's better. Oh, God, they could be getting worse. They could get worse. No!
We have a shark in our future.
There's a shark in our future. Amityville shark. Into that idea at some point. Bye! Bye!
If you want to interact with us online, you can check us out on Instagram or Twitter at Amityville Show, or you can send us an email at podcastamityville@gmail.com.